Good morning. Camera? There we go. Didn't get a video done yesterday. I was too busy trying to get all my work knocked out in the morning. So today is going to be from the 7th and from the 8th, which is day 80 and day 81. Some outside of life occurrences. My mate got himself a job. It looks like the small steps that he's starting to take are starting to add up, and he's having some success with that. And he was in a pretty good mood when we hung out on Thursday at the gym, so I'm pleased for him, and I hope that this is the beginning of his sort of slow gathering of momentum, so that he can get some of the other stuff sorted out in his life. I know it's definitely making his relationship better. I had a good day actually at the gym with the guys. I pushed one of the guys that doesn't push himself with lifting that he's not familiar with. On bench he goes hard, but then on on squatting or deadlift days he tends to puss out a little bit. And I set a limit. I said, no, you're gonna do this much today. Even if it takes us all night to get through it, you're going to do these because you need to break your plateau, and you're not going to be able to do that unless you learn how to push yourself. And this finding excuses to re-rack the weights when you're stepping back out on a squat day is how you develop sort of mental weakness, and that's not good. And then my girl had one of her work friends offer to do her brakes for her and to have us both over to their place to so that he could show me how to do it. He said, I kind of resent the idea that you'd have to pay for that to have to happen. And when she told me that, I got a little bit upset, and I couldn't figure out why I was upset. First of all, I definitely overreacted in thinking about it, but I realized two things. First of all, this guy has never really made any kind of interest or move to want to invite the two of us over to hang out with him and his wife. And so this kind of came out of left field. My understanding was that he didn't actually like me, which I was fine with. You know, I'm not trying to make friends everywhere I go. But he's a good friend of hers at work, and it's important to have friends at work, so I have zero issues with the two of them hanging out. But it was weird. First of all, it kind of took me by surprise that he was suggesting that, and then secondly, my ego took a bit of a shock, because it was like, well, I already know how to change brakes. I just don't have the facilities to do that. I don't have a garage in this condo, and I don't have tools. I don't have a lot of tools because I haven't had really the facilities to keep tools. I haven't been long term in a house with a garage or with a place to keep a lot of that kind of stuff, so I haven't bothered to buy it because, I mean, where the fuck am I going to keep it in a condo? I guess the third part of it though was that it was just well, no, I guess it really is just the two parts. But I went back when we talked about it. I told her, I was like, I'm feeling a bit weird about it, but it would be less weird if it was like, if they were inviting us over for a grill out or something. I'd be fine with that. I don't mind going over there and helping them with changing out your brakes, as long as that's not the only thing that we're doing. If that's all we're doing, we just go over there to do that. You can just take the car over by yourself, and he can change your brakes for you. I don't need to learn how to do that. I'm not looking to be educated to by someone that I'm pretty sure still doesn't like me. So yeah, anyway. But if they want to have a meal and have us get to know each other a little better, then yeah, I'm all for that. And then yeah, last night I had a big day out. I guess Angie, the wife, took off, and she went and hung out with her girlfriends for the evening, so I stayed home and had some beers and had a bit of a solo celebration for my raise. Watched a lot of movies. I watched the Spider-Man, the second Spider-Man movie, and which is good. Actually, a lot of nice little Easter eggs throughout that movie that I hadn't noticed before. Like when he says Captain Marvel, and Nick Fury says, don't invoke her name. She has been cancer for the Marvel Universe. I hope they don't put her in any more movies. I thoroughly did not enjoy. She was the weakest part of the last two Avengers, in my opinion. The Infinity Wars and Endgame could have been much better if she had just been left out. Because once you saw how strong she was, it was like, well, where the fuck were you the whole time? You know? And Nick Fury had access to her. I'm sure that there's reasons why, but still, it was just, it felt like someone, and it happened right in the middle of when everything started to get woke and stupid. And, yeah, I could have given two shits less. And then the actress came out and was just a piece of shit. She was just a bad person, like bad thinking. Not a bad person, like not evil. Just she had bad ways of thinking about the world and bad ways of interacting with the fans. It's amazing to me, the last like 3 or 4 years of media, how these large studios, particularly Disney and with Star Wars and Marvel, how people who are involved with these projects don't have any respect for the fans. I mean, it's one thing to disagree with what your fans say. Like, you can make a movie and think it's really good, and if your fans turn it out and go, actually, that was shit, it's one thing to disagree with them, but it's another thing entirely to target them and go after them and call them, you know, bigots or misogynists or man-children or whatever, like they were doing with Star Wars, and like they did with the Marvel, that little batch of Marvel movies in the middle there. Not so much. I think it was around Black Panther and Captain Marvel in particular. And yeah, there's some toxic douchebags out there, but the people who go to your movies and spend the money on the stuff, which is what they're there for, is there to sell, when you're insulting them and then turning around and going, when people are asking you, well, why didn't the movie go so well? It's like, oh, well, the world's full of misogynists and bigots. It's like, well, if you insulted your fans, if you insulted the fans of these franchises, why would you expect them to show up and watch your movies? Why wouldn't you expect them to get upset about that and boycott? I was thinking about it yesterday when I was in the toilet. And I was thinking about, if you're Kathleen Kennedy, how much delusion do you have to conjure to pretend that you didn't fuck Star Wars up royally? Like, The Force Awakens was on path to be at least better than the prequels. And then over the course of time, it went The Last Jedi, and then The Rise of Skywalker tanked. And I have people that I know who enjoyed it, but these are also people who enjoy a lot of low quality entertainment. And you can tell by the way that the box office was reflected, and by how Star Wars fans just didn't turn out for it as much, that she was poisonous to that franchise. And I was thinking, if you're her, there's no way that you can get through life without avoiding the fact that a lot of people don't like what you did with that franchise. Like, it's one thing for George Lucas to fuck it up because it was his, but she just had she had some creative control over it, and it was bad creative control. The stuff that she tried to infuse into it and the way that they dealt with China was it was disgusting. Anyway, I'm rambling. Busy day today. We've got deadlifting, and then got to take Angie's car out to the service place and go to Whole Foods. It's gonna be a full day. And my back's not feeling so great because I sat a lot yesterday, so I'm gonna have to try to be on my feet a little more today. But otherwise, I've been feeling pretty good. The body's starting to recover from the Clomid. I'm starting to feel the energy back again and starting to feel less mood swingy. Still a little bit, but not as bad as it was. Anyway, so yeah, so still no decision as to whether or not we'll be partaking when I go on vacation in July. I guess we'll just have to see how that plays out. I want to wait until I hit my 90 days first, and then I think make a decision then. And yeah, that's really about it. Bit of a Star Wars Marvel rant there. Oh, and if you haven't seen it, if you like historical movies, I can highly recommend The King. It's a story about Henry V. It's somewhat accurate. There's, they've taken some license with setups and motivations, but the movie itself is actually pretty good. I liked how they went into detail, not detail like in the story or anything, but how they went into good detail with the sets and the armor and the first siege that occurs, or the only siege that occurs, kind of how they talk about, soldiers being encamped are going to get sick if they don't move on to places with more food and better shelter. It was neat to see a movie that was kind of dirty about war, like medieval war. And it's Henry V. It's an interesting story. He didn't live very long, but what he accomplished was quite extraordinary. Anyway, that's it for me. Ka kite.